Pocket FM.
To unlock all the episodes, click the link in bio.
Talia was the lowest of the low, an Omega, beaten, starved, too weak to even shift. When the most powerful Alpha in the realm came to marry the Pack's cruel princess, it was supposed to unite an unstable realm. Everything changed the moment Talia accidentally walked in on them. Princess Marcy's jeweled hand cracked across Talia's face, carving a ring-shaped bruise into her cheek. Talia was resigned to the abuse. An Omega, a lowly servant, an orphan she-wolf too weak to shift.
Talia bit the inside of her cheek while considering her options. One was staying at the Red Moon Pack. Anna's bullying was escalating and Marcy started picking on her also. Yesterday, Marcy came into the attic and Talia got a for something she didn't do. The second option was to go to the Dark Howlers Pack. Alpha Damon said that in his pack people were accepted. Could it be worse than here? Probably not. Of course, there was also the third option for Talia to leave on her own somewhere, but that option was scary and uncertain, and it will exist even if she goes with Alpha Damon. Damon saw that Talia was considering it, and he spoke with urgency before she could decline his offer. Grab your things. You only need to say that you reject the Red Moon Pack and Edward Redmayne as your Alpha, and the mind link will break. With that, you are free to go, and they can't find you. Talia shook her head. I don't have the mind link. Alpha Edward's father brought me here as a child, and I never went through the ceremony. Good! Damon exclaimed louder than intended. She doesn't belong anywhere, and he was more than happy to give her a home. With him, get your things. Just like that? Damon nodded. Just like that. Talia paused and decided to ask the question that was bothering her from the moment he came to the attic. How do I know that you are not tricking me? Damon stood up and Talia felt chills surround her when his body separated from hers. He extended his hand toward Talia, palm up. Let me prove it to you. She looked into his icy blue eyes that stared at her with anticipation and she believed him. How come you are leaving so suddenly? Alpha Edward asked while rushing to catch up to Caden and Maya, who were descending the stairs with a suitcase each. How am I supposed to know? Caden grumbled in the mind link for Maya to hear. Something unexpected happened and we need to leave. Maya lied with a straight face. Actually, it was not a lie. Neither Maya nor Caden knew what was going on, other than that Damon told them that they were leaving. Since they arrived at the Red Moon Pack, Damon's mood was all over the place. Caden and Maya lost count of how many times Damon told them that they were leaving, only to change his mind shortly after that. However, they never reached the point of actually packing their things, so Caden and Maya believe that this is it, and they will finally return home and find some sense of normalcy. Earlier that morning, Damon woke them up through the mind link with instructions that Caden should park the car on the side of the pack house, pack their things, Damon's included, tell Alpha Edward that they are leaving, and meet with Damon outside, in that order. Damon also included a clause about how all that needs to be completed within 15 minutes. Maya and Caden agreed that Damon finally lost his marbles, but they were happy to return home with the hope that Damon's mood would stabilize because everything crazy started since they arrived at the Red Moon Pack. Just as Caden and Maya reached the main door with Alpha Edward hot on their tails, Marcy dashed out of her room while pulling a robe over her nightgown. Her father told her to get downstairs as soon as possible, so she didn't have time to dress up. Damon waited for them outside, leaning on the car that was now in front of the pack house. Just as Caden was going to the trunk to keep the suitcases, Damon told him through their mind link, keep the suitcases in the back seat and start the car. Caden did as he was told without objections. Damon turned to Alpha Edward. Something came up and we need to return to our pack. What about finalizing the marriage agreement between you and Marcy? Damon glanced at Marcy, who looked at him anxiously while clutching her robe. Agreeing to a marriage with Marcy was out of the question. But Damon knew that if he said that, hell would break loose, and he would need to do damage control. Damon wanted to leave this place as soon as possible. However, leaving without an explanation might cause problems as well. Luckily, he thought about this, and his farewell speech was ready. Alpha Edward, Damon spoke solemnly. Marriage is a commitment for life. We shouldn't decide after only a day or two. Miss Marcy and I met, and now we should take some time to think about our interactions, expectations, and decide how we will proceed from here. No matter how eager we are to conclude this matter, a successful Alpha and Luna should know that some things can't be rushed. Alpha Edward wanted to object, but what should he say? That he wanted to rush his only daughter into marrying a guy she'd just met 2 days ago? Without anything good to say at that time that would solidify the marriage between Marcy and Damon, Alpha Edward responded with a stiff nod. Damon raised his hand, giving a sharp wave before going to the back seat, next to the suitcases. Drive, Damon told Caden as soon as he closed the door behind him. Are we finally leaving? Caden asked while driving down the driveway. Did you pack all my stuff? Caden nodded. Caden and Maya were glad to leave as well, so they didn't question Damon's abrupt decision to pack and head out. They only feared that he would change his mind again and ask them to go back. Back at the Red Moon Pack, in Alpha Edward's study. Are you sure that nothing happened? You didn't offend him? Alpha Edward asked Marcy, who looked at him helplessly. It's not that the scene itself was an issue. After all, werewolves are promiscuous by nature, and Damon and Marcy were to be married. However, Damon barely acknowledging her existence after that was a problem. A big one. I told you, Daddy. After dinner, he said that he was tired, and he went to his room. He doesn't like to be disturbed, so I waited in the lounge on the first floor in case he came out. But he didn't, so I went to sleep. The next thing I know, you woke me up through the mind link in order to come out because he was leaving. It must be that something happened in the Dark Howlers Pack during the night. Alpha Edward exhaled in frustration. No matter how he looked at it, Damon escaped. He had issues bringing him here the first time, and getting him here a second time would be even more challenging. He wanted to scold Marcy for incompetence, but it seemed that she didn't do anything to offend Alpha Damon, so he swallowed it down. I want you to stay in touch with Alpha Damon. He left, but the two of you are officially in a relationship. Act like a girlfriend. Text him, call him, make sure he doesn't forget about you. And if he finds a way to get out of this marriage, it will be on you. Do you understand? Marcy nodded. If marriage between her and Damon didn't happen, she would be punished. She thought that this was it, but then Alpha Edward raised his index finger. 1 week. For? Marcy asked reluctantly. If in 1 week there is no progress, you will go to the Dark Howlers Pack and don't you dare return without a wedding date. If you do your moves right, you won't return at all. But we will come for the Luna ceremony. Yes, Father, Marcy responded, and she didn't hesitate when Alpha Edward waved that she could leave. Marcy faked confidence in front of her father, but now that she was on her own, Marcy was deflated. If Damon ignored her in person, how was she supposed to get his attention long distance? 1 week was too short. Does she really need to go to the Dark Howlers Pack in order to seduce him? She had the home territory advantage and failed. Trying something at the Dark Howlers Pack will only make it more difficult. Marcy wondered if she offended Damon somehow. He seemed interested, but then he wasn't. Marcy concluded that she probably hurt his ego. No woman rejected Alpha Damon, and even though she wanted to do some things, she rejected him.
Please subscribe to the Pocket FM YouTube channel and press the bell icon for instant notification. Check out our channel for more such exciting shows.
Based on the appearance of Nora's, Marcy concluded that they were recently worn. They couldn't be more than 1 or 2 days old, and that was the time when Damon was using this room. What were Nora's doing in Damon's room? With a single glance, Marcy spotted that both were ripped in a similar way. Marcy was sizzling with anger, and the reality dawned on her. That Nora was pretending to be sweet and supportive while sneaking into Damon's room when Marcy was not looking. Was Nora the reason why Damon ignored Marcy yesterday? Marcy remembered that after Damon touched her, Marcy went to steam her anger on Talia. Alpha Edward contacted her through the mind link, but she brushed him off, saying that she was busy. When Marcy finished with Talia, her father told her that Nora went to accompany Damon while touring the Red Moon Pack. At that time, Marcy didn't think much about it. But what if Nora gave Damon a very personal tour? Marcy gritted her teeth while cursing Nora. It's all her fault! Marcy stormed out of the bedroom and nearly bumped into Nora. What are you doing here? Marcy asked Nora. Is it true that Alpha Damon left? Marcy forced a tight smile on her face. Something came up and he had to leave. I just escorted him. We will resume our marriage talks later. I see. Nora couldn't hide her disappointment. She came after hearing that Damon was gone in order to retrieve her panties, but with Marcy here, she couldn't do it. Nora eyed Marcy, who was still in her robe and nightgown. I guess you will dress up for breakfast? I will see you there. Marcy looked after Nora's retreating back and fumed. You will pay for this, bitch! Marcy gritted her teeth while coming up with various scenarios to make Nora suffer. Since she came home from Paris, nothing went right. Marcy found her mate, but he ended up being an Omega. Her father scolded her more times than she wished to remember. Before she could recover from meeting and rejecting George, Damon showed up as her groom and played some game of hot and cold with Marcy while shagging Nora. Marcy didn't get anything other than insults and embarrassments, and she was confident that even Omegas were laughing at her because that filthy girl saw her with Damon. Yes, that girl in the attic. Marcy's eyes shone maliciously as she made her way upstairs. It took Caden, Maya, and Damon about half an hour to drive to get out of the Red Moon Pack territory. Stop the car, Damon said, and Caden pulled over reluctantly while silently praying to the moon goddess that Damon didn't change his mind and wants to go back to the Red Moon Pack. Damon grabbed the suitcases that were next to him and went to the back of the car with urgency. Caden and Maya turned to see what Damon was doing, and they both gaped at the sight of a girl emerging before Damon put suitcases in the trunk. Damon held her hand and even opened the door for her. Since when is Damon such a gentleman? Caden asked Maya through MindLink, and the latter shrugged in response. Of course, Damon is not a gentleman. Never was, never will be. At least that's what Maya and Caden thought. Until now. Talia and Damon sat in the back seat, and Damon told Caden to resume driving. Caden didn't react. Both Maya and Caden observed Talia curiously. Aren't you going to introduce us? Caden asked Damon, who frowned at him. After a second of hesitation, Damon glanced at Talia and gestured toward the front of the car. That's Caden, my beta, and Maya his mate. He turned to Caden. There you go. I introduced you. Now, can you drive? Caden and Maya were both visibly confused. What about the girl's name? The truth is that Damon didn't know Talia's name. However, he didn't think that was important, and he didn't want to waste time on pleasantries. The important thing was that the girl was next to him, heading to the Dark Howlers Pack. There will be plenty of time for them to talk. Also, they were still close to the territory of the Red Moon Pack, and Damon felt pressure to keep moving. Caden saw that Damon's mood was not good, so he resumed driving. Now that he saw Talia, Caden understood why there was all the rush to leave. Alpha Edward, Marcy, and others were jolted awake and too confused by the sudden development to notice the scent of the girl that was in the trunk. Heck, even Caden didn't realize that there was another person in the car, and he wondered if something was off with his nose. When they were back on the road, Caden spoke to Damon and Maya through the mind link. Is there a reason why we kidnapped a girl from the Red Moon Pack? It's not kidnapping, Damon responded. She came out of the trunk, Maya stated the fact. We are officially kidnappers. Damon couldn't refute this. Talia came out of the trunk. But she was there only in order to avoid drama if Alpha Edward, Marcy, or someone else sees her. Why did you beat her? Caden asked. Damon was outraged. Since when is he a woman beater? Damon would never raise a hand on a woman, Unless she is coming to kill him. I didn't, Damon responded grumpily. Before they could ask more questions, Damon quickly said, "The girl is here out of her own will. She was badly treated. I offered her a way out and she took it. Now, can you focus on the road? She doesn't have the mind link, but that doesn't mean someone won't come after us if they notice her missing." Damon didn't want to explain more than that, and he was not ready to say that the copper-haired girl was his mate. He was still adjusting to that fact himself. He glanced at Talia, who was looking out the window with her eyes half closed. It was obvious that she was about to fall asleep at any moment. Damon touched Talia's shoulder to get her attention, and then patted his. "Lean on me if you want to sleep." Talia shook her head while she mumbled that it wasn't necessary. She was overwhelmed with all this, and sitting so close to a scary alpha made her uneasy. She wanted to go back in the trunk. Earlier that morning, in the attic, Talia was tired and achy and her mind was muddled, and she accepted this crazy idea of leaving the Red Moon Pack. But now that she is actually in the middle of this escape adventure, she was not sure if leaving was a good idea. Talia was mentally and physically exhausted. She was used to doing her chores at night and sleeping during the day. In the last 2 days, she had gotten beaten, which meant that she didn't sleep. "Aww," Talia cried softly when her forehead bumped into the window. It seemed that she fell asleep without realizing it. Damon put his arm around Talia's shoulders and pulled her to lean her back on him. She struggled to sit straight, but his grip increased, pressing her against him. "Don't be stubborn and sleep." Talia exhaled helplessly. Damon was more comfortable than the hard glass window, but she was not used to leaning on people no matter how warm they were or how good they smelled. And this was the second time in a day for the scary alpha to pin her to lean on him. His sturdy arm was high on her chest as he held her shoulder tightly without hurting her. Talia glanced at Damon and wondered if this was his way of being kind. Did he act like this with everyone? Probably. She didn't see a single reason why someone so powerful and handsome would single her out. "Thanks," Talia said softly and relaxed against him. With slight vibrations of the car, Damon's warmth, and his scent of the forest and dark chocolate, Talia fell asleep in less than 5 seconds.
Please subscribe to the Pocket FM YouTube channel and press the bell icon for instant notification. Check out our channel for more such exciting shows.
Pocket FM. To unlock all the episodes, click the link in bio.